I once had a coach, Coach Mike. Mike was on the borderline of being cruel in his methods. Being new to weightlifting in my early 30s was already intimidating for me, just to think about all of the weight I would have to be able to move. Well, Mike did not make me feel any better about it. Day one, he said, "Max, since ultimately what matters in life are outcomes, when you're in the gym, let's set the goals that will be based on the ultimate amount of weight that you should be able to lift once we are done. And every time you step into the gym, or even on your way to the gym, I want you to be thinking about meeting those ultimate goals." I must say, a part of me was excited thinking about the possibility of meeting those outcomes. But I can't say I felt quite motivated. Here's why. First, I wasn't confident that I would be able to meet those goals. Second, the outcomes being so far out, I wasn't exactly sure what the path would look like to get there. And third, I wasn't sure what I should be doing today in order to get to those outcomes. Nevertheless, I continued working with Mike. We're making progress. And then we had this big assessment day. We tried out multiple lifts, and I was happy. I was proud of the progress I've made. I definitely got stronger. But I didn't meet Mike's expectations. He was disappointed in me, and he let me know that. I asked Mike, well, can you tell me what I did wrong? Can I put in more effort? Can I try harder? And can I try again? And Mike said, no. In fact, Max, maybe weightlifting isn't for you. Maybe you should consider a different sport. Now, you may be wondering, why would anybody continue to work with a person like that? Well, you may want to ask some of my former students. You see, the story isn't about my coach. The story is about myself and my ways when I started teaching college finance courses. I just replaced some terms to make the story flow, but it was me who was obsessed with outcomes. I would tell students all that matters is how you can perform in those big exams. Granted, I care for my students. I want to see them succeed. And for that reason, I wanted for them to be able to perform. But what I failed to consider is that goals need to motivate. And that's a lesson I learned from my coach, Mike. Mike had the opposite message. He was focused on the process rather than outcomes. He would set behavior goals for me that I had control over. For example, instead of thinking of deadlifting 400 pounds one day or slimming down and trying to lose 10 pounds, he would set goals such as show up to the gym 5 times a week, drink more water, eat smaller, healthful meals. And I felt empowered because I had full control over meeting those goals. And those goals were consistent with getting to the outcomes, but I didn't have to think about the outcomes. All I had to do was focus on my behavior and meeting those goals. And as I would hit the goal, I want to do the next one and the next one. And so I could hardly recognize myself. I became this super motivated person in a new sport that I wasn't even good at when I started. And it was all because of the guidance that I received from my coach, Mike. Now, Mike may be special, but there are others. There are many coaches who adopt this behavior. The whole fitness industry gets it, because for them, the main factor for success is how motivated can one be. Precision nutrition is just the program that Mike used that trains thousands of coaches to do exactly that, to focus on the process, build small, sustainable habits, one after another. And before you know it, you get used to just exhibiting behavior that sets you on a path to meet your goals. So as I would learn those lessons on how to motivate, I would want to bring them into the classroom. It was hard for me to ignore the discrepancy, what was happening in the gym and me being super motivated, and then coming to the classroom, giving my students the opposite message, and not exactly having everyone be on board. So I started infusing behavior goals into the classroom. Homework now mattered. Participation, showing up mattered. We'd have many freaking quizzes. And if you missed them, or you failed it, well, just like I failed a lift, it was okay to look at what you missed, to put in more effort, and to try again. And as I made this shift, I saw in my students what happened to me in the gym. My students became more motivated because they had control over meeting behavior goals. And as they would complete the goals, they would want to do the next one and the next one. In fact, just to test that I wasn't imagining this, that my students were now ultra motivated, I checked it. Day 1 of class, when I tell my students about the behavior goals that they expected to meet for the course, the amount of time they expect to study goes up by 15%. And at the same time, they expect to earn a higher grade. So you have students who are saying, I'm going to study more and I'm going to do better. How great is that? This shouldn't be surprising, though. This is not new. James Clear makes that point in Atomic Habits. He says it is not motivation that drives actions. It's actually flipped. It's actions that lead to motivation, which in turn inspires more action and leads to more motivation and keeps going. Think about last time you completed a morning workout. Did you feel, after the workout, did you feel like you were going to do more for the rest of the day or less? Or even something as simple as making your bed in the morning. Once you're done, do you feel like, okay, now I'm ready to go do the next thing? Or do you feel, well, now I've already done something, I can take it a little easier for the rest of the day? Understanding how to motivate is important, and I want to bring it into the classroom because if we can get students motivated, they can do more, they can perform more, they can reach higher. Carol Dweck makes a point about growth mindset and how important it is for students to have that. It's a mindset that gets students to believe that our abilities are not fixed. We can grow them. And if we can grow them, we will put in more effort. And if we fail, it's okay because we can bounce back and we can grow. Angela Duckworth emphasizes the importance of grit in our students that will lead to their success in the classroom and beyond the classroom. So I propose that we add to those ways to improve education. I propose that we also add the motivation piece to it, that we think about motivating our students, and we teach them how to motivate themselves beyond the classroom. Now, whether you're an educator, whether you're a coach, whether you're a therapist, whether you're a parent, whether you're a mentor, when working with people, get them focused on the process, on their behavior that will be consistent with their ultimate outcomes. But don't worry about the outcomes. Get them thinking about the process and behavior because they have control over that. And that will motivate them. And if you are on the other side of this, if outcome goals are being set for you, fine. Make your own behavior goals and focus on those that will be consistent with meeting outcomes, because that's what motivates. Now, each one of you has ambition about growing in some aspects of your life. And I commend you for that. And I also encourage you to focus on the journey and not the destination. And guess what? I bet you will meet the journey, you'll reach that, and you'll surpass it, and you may not even realize that it happened because you're so consumed, you're enjoying the process, you're in the flow of the journey. Thank you so much.